but yeah, he's going to be doing quite a detailed kind of setting up for meditation and what we need to think about to do that properly. And then we'll go into a bit of body awareness and breath awareness, have a break with some announcements, and I'll open the Sangha Lounge. And then the second half, we're going to have, how do we go about reflecting on the Dharma with a clear mind? So, yes. So welcome to those who've just joined. We're probably just going to start our meditation. Our first half's always meditation, then we go into a bit of a talk in the second half. We're also going to have breakout groups in the second half to discuss some of the topics being covered this morning. So yeah, we're going to be meditating, mindfulness of breathing and body. So get yourself set up in meditation posture, grab whatever you need to feel comfortable, and limit distractions where possible. I've got a feeling I'm on speaker in the shrine and we can't hear them. But yes, let's ask them to unmute. Yeah, and if you haven't muted, I'm just going to wait.
I think we're okay.
Yes.
Audible.
So I just wanted to welcome everybody online. It's nice to see you all there. I've got you on my screen here. So welcome to everybody. And for all of you here, welcome. So my name is Vajradaka, and I'm sort of part of the team, and I'm also a guest on the team here because I tend to just do these classes once a month. And I have a very particular kind of remit I've given myself for these classes, which is that over a number of years, I will communicate all the absolute important, crucial, necessary skills and skill sets and approaches that you need to be effective in a regular meditation practice. So because of that, I tend to do the class differently from the way that they're usually taught. So what is usually done in a meditation class is that there will be one of two meditation practices, mindfulness of breathing or metta bhavana, with the stages, and the leader will explain that or go through that. But I don't do that. So what I tend to do, or will do, is I'll bring out some certain skills that we're going to practice, and then I'll guide you into a meditation, but not in the formal stages, but more almost like in using the analogy of training wheels on a bicycle, just or as to introduce you to ways of working in the meditation. That's good. Yeah. So yeah, sit comfortably for the moment. You don't have to get into meditation posture yet. Just save your knees for later. So just for my own benefit, anyone who's really new to meditation, if you just give me a show of hands. Good. Okay, well, you're very welcome. So sometimes when people are teaching the classes, there isn't really enough time to introduce the topic of setting up for the meditation. So I'm going to take quite a bit of time, first of all, introducing that topic of setup, because it's so valuable in the long term. And even for those people who are regular long-term meditators, it can sometimes be tempting or just a habit to drop the setup and just go straight into the meditation. boom, boom, like that. But actually, I would say, even for those of you who are really experienced, review whether you do actually pay attention to your setup. I'm talking now particularly to the camera because most of them, nearly everyone online are quite experienced. And they're people who have been coming to the centre before and who've moved away in far-flung places. But yes, review it. Make sure that you do actually take time for setup. So I'm going to introduce setup to meditation with a particular analogy, which is the pilot's checklist before taking off in an aeroplane. Now, you don't have to have been a pilot to appreciate this. You don't have to have a license or done it at all. All you need really is a little bit of imagination and to remember things. So, you've arrived. So I'm going to just talk you through this, not as a sort of more theoretical thing, and then later on I'll guide you into the setup. So you don't have to do it as I say it at the moment. So you arrive, and that's a bit like arriving into the aeroplane, that you're in the aeroplane, and the aeroplane is in the right place. It's actually on a runway. And in terms of a practical approach, you're in a room which you're not going to be disturbed as far as you can tell. It's relatively quiet, you're comfortable, you've got everything that you need in terms of a seat or cushions, and you're setting up that. And it might even be aesthetic. You might have a picture of a meditating figure, for example, to help inspire you. So then comes you're arriving into your seat. And in a way, this is, what's the word I'm looking for? Rhetorical, maybe. You are keeping the initiative. You are the pilot of your practice. You are keeping the initiative. So when you take your seat, there's that clear attitude that you are the pilot. You are doing what you need to do to come into the meditation. And one of the first things on a very kind of physical level is just making sure that when you're setting up your meditation, you're stable, you've got poise, and you're comfortable. And that includes awareness of the head. Now, there's a reason for that, which I'll just mention, which is part of setup, which I think serves you well in the long term, which is you might have a tendency, once you get into meditation, to just sort of lose concentration. And what happens is that the head can move. So your head is like biofeedback, immediate feedback. I'm going, oh, bong, I'm gone. So you set your head up and then have the intention to check it all through the practice. Now, even for very experienced, long in the tooth meditators, this is very useful to remember this. I mean, I've got a friend, he's been meditating decades. He forgot it, and then he falls asleep. And he's got no way of checking. He doesn't, because he hasn't set up the check for the head. Head, yes. Set, yes. Check later, yes. Ding, ding, ding. In the cockpit. So you're setting these important things up. Then out of that comes basically something that might seem a bit ridiculous. You check that there's no backseat drivers. Because you're in the seat, but there might be a voice at the back saying, "Oh, you're doing it wrong. Keep the brakes on. It's better just to stay here. You could have a little nap. You could plan your holiday. Get rid of the backseat driver right from the beginning. Say, no, out. I'm in the seat." Then you have your flight plan. Now, flight plan basically is your setting up of your intentions for the practice. And for those of you who have been at classes with me before, you're probably thinking, here he goes again, because it's so important. It's absolutely primary component of mindfulness is to actually know what your area of engagement and your effort is going to be going into. If you don't have that, the airplane just slide off the runway or not move. So there are very primary intentions that you're going to be present. You're going to stay present. And that in itself presents difficulties, because there might be a part of you that goes, "You're kidding, right? You want me to be in touch with my feelings and how I am? Forget it. I'm willing to sit here, but I'm not actually willing to do anything." It's only when you actually make the intention that bit then becomes into awareness. So it's really important. Saying, no, this is what we're going to do. But, no, it's a good thing. So then comes the sort of almost encouraging and giving yourself the value of what you're doing. No, it's a good thing. It helps me, in lots of different ways. I really want to do this. I'm up for this. But, no, really, come on. You got up from bed on a cold morning, out from the duvet, you've got this far, you came through, the cold, and you got here, you might as well just carry on now that you're this far. Well, yeah, you're nearly there, come on. So this is very important. Addressing the can't be asked bit. I'm sorry, it can't be bothered. It needs addressing. It needs to be taken seriously as well. Otherwise, it's always in the background if it's not addressed, going, wah, 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 wah. Or just putting on the brake, basically. So in a way, this is almost like fuel, check. That you have fuel, you have desire to practice, you want to practice, and you're up for it. Now, then you have another level of intentions, which is, and this probably is more relevant to the very experienced people, which is, I'm going to do such and such practice, awareness of the body and the breath, for example, with us today. But I'm also going to have a theme. And the theme might be relevant to how you are. So if you're actually tired, but you're up for it, the theme will be to check your head, for example, and to keep your persistence and determination going, and your encouragement to keep going. That becomes a theme. Now, in this morning's practice, I'm going to introduce a couple of themes, but I'll just do that later. Then you have this is the practice I'm going to do, awareness of the body and the breath. And then finally, and one more check for the flight plan is I'm going to check whether my mind has wandered off and opened up other windows of dialogue, discussion, arguments, fantasy, anticipation, planning, and I'm going to check, because they can just open up in the background. But you're going to check, oh, I've started planning something. I'll do that later. So there's very simple directions that you intend to give yourself to close it, the background windows, to call them that, down, which is not now, later, and return. Not now, later, return. So you might need to be doing that planning. You might need to remember something practical. So you actually do need to do it later. But actually giving yourself the clear message, I will do that later, lets the mind in a way relax. You know, but you've got to do that. No, yes, all right already, I'll do it, but later. Yes, I'll do it. It's fine. Relax. It's fine. Good mind. And then you can, and then return. You return clearly, and the return is a soft return. And the reason I say that is that you don't just sort of force your mind onto the body and the breath. You're going, it's much more gentle than that. You know that you're coming into the body, and you sort of arrive with gentle determination and clarity. This is what I am going to do, arrive. And then you're back. So all that is flight plan. You rev up the motors are now, they're ready to go, actually going, oh yeah, everything's here, all the motors, wheels, undercarriage, wings, direction, yeah. Okay, brakes off. Now at this point, you might be aware enough of yourself to know whether you're in for a long runway or a short runway. For those more experienced meditators, you just might know what I mean. Sometimes a long runway is, it just takes a long time to arrive, a long time for your mind to settle, a long time to keep clearing, and that's the runway. And you just, yeah, my mind is all over the place, it's jumping around, it's going to take me a while of keep coming back, settling the mind. It's a long runway, just get used to the idea. You're not just going to go like that. But that can happen. You can be ready sometimes. And it's like you see those vertical takeoff jets, amazing things. They just go boom like that, and they're off. And sometimes when you're in the right mood, especially in a weekend, you don't have lots of distractions or things pulling on your mind, that can happen. And you can just go, yeah, brakes off, and you're off. And then you're in touch with your main area of engagement, which is, in this case, going to be the body and the breath. Okay, so that's what we're going to do, and then I'll guide you in to the body and the breath. So set yourselves up nicely. So if you need any help with your posture, put up your hand now. Everyone is fine with their posture. And take the time. This is really, take the time. No embarrassment about taking time. You might need more cushions. Get the cushions. stability, poise, check the head, comfortable. Are you high enough? I'm not sure. Are you comfortable? Yeah, might need another. Yeah, and you might need one more cushion for your leg. Yeah, could you give it to him? Is everyone else all right? Height-wise? Cool. It takes the time. This is part of setting up. Don't rush it. You check everything. Height, cushion, yes, perfect. Stability, yes, perfect. Poise, check. Good. So, and again, welcome to the people on what online now, 16 people. So, arriving. You can close your eyes if you feel comfortable with that, and just coming, arriving, yes, arriving into your body and how it feels. Arriving. That you're in the seat. You're going to keep the initiative, the direction, and that if you are going to have a theme, particular theme, bring that to mind. But the theme I'm introducing for you is paying attention to your effort. Paying attention to the effort that you make in the practice as a theme. More detail on that later. And then just checking, it's almost like the fuel. Am I up for this? And if it's a yes, just endorse that yes. And if it's a no, I'm not up for this, give yourself a little encouragement to do the practice. And that you're going now to arrive into the sense of the body and how it is. And the practice starts. Arriving into the sense of the body, how it feels. Being aware of your shoulders. If there's any holding, tension, you might need to just soften them or loosen them. Awareness of any discomfort and comfort in your body in any way, just taking it in, broadening your awareness to take it in. Now bringing your awareness particularly down to your seat, to your buttocks on the cushion, and to your legs, if they're touching the seat or the ground. That point of contact with the seat and the ground, into the actual feeling of it. Arriving. So just a quick check if there's any radio babble, any background thoughts, feeling, what's going, not now, let go, or later, and then clearly to yourself. Coming back into the point of contact with your seat and the ground, arriving into it. And now for a more subtle perception, being aware of your temperature. Checking your head, adjusting it if you need to. So now, moving awareness up from your seat and point of contact with the ground, up into your belly. And the belly and the breath is now the area of engagement. Saying that internally, quite clearly. And now you're, as it were, taking off into that. It's easy, just going with that. Feeling all the sensations of the movement in the belly as the breath comes in and goes out. And now you're in the practice, you're taking off. adjusting your effort. So you're not too laid back or too forced or pushed, but you're leaning into the experience of the belly and the breath. Staying with it. Is the movement in the belly smooth, slightly jerky, just having a sense of how it is, quite naturally as the breath comes in and goes out. So your effort now is like your throttle. Do you need a bit more throttle to get a bit closer into the experience? Adjust as necessary. Keeping your direction into the belly and the breath. And as you come more into the experience, just stay in it as it changes. Quick check any background babble, close it down, not now or later, and return. And now for a moment we're just going to rest. So just in the back of your mind, you just say rest. And this might be a good opportunity just to readjust your seat if it's uncomfortable. Just resting. And now it's going to be a new area of engagement, which is the breath and the nostrils. So letting that intention come to mind. The breath in the nostrils. If it helps, take a couple of slightly emphasized out breaths just to help you focus, and then let the breath go back to its natural rhythm. Staying with it. Adjusting your effort, your throttle. You too forced and pushed, and then back off the throttle. Adjust as necessary. Keeping on course, adjusting the throttle, feeling the energy to go to the breath in the nostrils. Quick check, are you here or away? Return. adjusting the throttle, staying with the contact and the energy. So there's a little metaphor. The breath can be like flying through the air and the wind. Being present. Your steering and throttle are in your hands. And now to finish, just as it were, cut the engine and you're going into glide mode. Just being aware of how you are and staying with it. And gently broadening your awareness to take in your body how you are, including your temperature, and very gently opening your eyes and taking in the room in a broad way. And if it helps, just gently rubbing your face. Nice easy landing. Not too bumpy. So we're going to have a tea break now, opportunity to get to know each other, talk, communicate. Or if you want to just be still and assimilate and absorb the meditation, that's fine, you can stay up here. A little guideline tip when you come back in for 22, to be here for 22, as you come into the room, make sure that you've finished all your conversations, even downstairs or on the stairs, so that when you come in, you're coming in quiet, as it were, and just present.